I'm Dr. Balbir Singh. I am the chairman and head of cardiology at Max Saket. Mitral regurgitation, or so-called MR, is a dangerous disease because it causes leakage of blood back into the atrium. So when the blood leaks back into the atrium, it puts stress on the heart tends to dilate, and the lungs get flooded with water. So once the lungs get flooded with water, patient complains of breathlessness. So mitral regurgitation has been a bad disease ever since we know it. And mitral regurgitation we call begets more mitral regurgitation. So we may start with mild and then it becomes moderate and then it becomes severe. So it's a progressive disease. It leads to heart dilatation, and traditionally what we have learned is that repairing these valves is better than changing these valves. However, repair is a difficult surgery. It is an open heart surgery. Not all can do it very well. So it's a complicated outcome for many patients with mitral regurgitation. So a lot of changes have happened in the last 5 years. We have now transcatheter techniques to repair the valve, what we call as the Mitra clip. So it's a transcatheter edge-to-edge repair of the mitral valve, where the mitral regurgitation tends to decrease or even minimize to nil once you do this procedure. So this procedure is done with a transcatheter technique. That means there is no opening of the heart. It is going through a catheter going through the groin, which enters into the heart and is able to clip the mitral valve to reduce mitral regurgitation. So once the mitral regurgitation is reduced, the patient really benefits. And the advantage of this procedure is the patient can go home the next day. So this is a great technology which has been one of the greatest advances in the last 5 years. So if one says as to what great advances have happened in the cardiological field, this is one of the greatest advantages. So normally, conventionally, the surgical procedures are done for mitral regurgitation. So what are the procedures that are done for mitral regurgitation? One is the repair of the valve, that the surgeon tries to stitch the valve and reduces the mitral regurgitation. The other operation is just remove the whole valve and put in a new valve, which is called a mitral replacement, valve replacement. Now these two surgeries require an open heart surgery, patient being put on a heart-lung machine till the entire surgery is over, and then has to go through those 10 days in the hospital, then gradual recovery. So it has been a painful process. And then mitral valve repair is not an easy surgery because there are some complications described with it. Not all surgeons get the same kind of results. So there have been a lot of dispute of how repair should be done, what is an adequate repair. So this has been a conventional form of procedure, a surgical procedure. So gradually, when we evolve into a bigger future, we always get techniques which are simpler, faster, and good for the patient. That means he doesn't have to go through very invasive processes and can be done with smaller processes, and that's what we are evolving in. That's what science is evolving into. Minimally invasive procedures which make life easier for the patient. 60 years old, had a previous heart attack, had previous arrhythmias, and I have been treating him for the last 4 or 5 years. And in the last 1 year, he was having repeated admissions with heart failure. So that means he would come with us breathless, with water lodged in the lungs, and would be admitted for a couple of days in the hospital. We would give IV injections, he would get better and go home. But this started happening more repetitively, and his heart started enlarging. And the reason why he had this was a mitral regurgitation. How he developed mitral regurgitation was from his previous heart attack. That heart attack not only damaged some of the muscle of the heart, but also damaged the mitral valve. And as a result, he had developed severe mitral regurgitation. And after we did the procedure, patient next morning was made to walk. He walked up and down for half an hour in our corridors and said he never felt like this in the last 2 years, which is a great, remarkable feat because he was home the next day and felt as if he is on the top of the world and didn't even know a procedure like a mitral valve repair has been done. He didn't even know that. He said, I didn't even feel anything. I'm absolutely fit and normal. His medications were reduced, and he's to come for a follow-up next week, and I know he's doing extremely well. So this new method of treatment has some limitations that only selected patients can undergo it at the present moment in time. We have patients who have what we call as functional mitral regurgitation or a degenerative mitral regurgitation. Both are candidates. But some of the valves which become very calcified or very badly degenerated may not be able to undergo this procedure. And the patients who can undergo this procedure, it's a precise thing. Everything is calculated, so precise, so accurate that chances of mistake are extremely low. So we know from the trials the success rate of the procedure is 95%, which is a huge success of any procedure. So this makes it a procedure of choice for patients who are poor candidates for surgery, who develop complications with surgery, because the complication rates of this procedure are extremely low. Non-valvular atrial fibrillation is a very common arrhythmia. It's a common arrhythmia in patients who are hypertensive, diabetic, have heart disease, or getting older into their age. It's very common. The problem with non-valvular atrial fibrillation is that it causes strokes because clots form in the heart in a particular area which is called the left atrial appendage. The clot forms there and then travels to the brain to block the brain arteries and cause a brain stroke. These brain strokes are intense, dense strokes and cause very high mortality. So we have to prevent brain strokes in anybody who has non-valvular atrial fibrillation, which is an irregular arrhythmia of the heart. So there are some medications which help us prevent strokes in these patients, but these medications have side effects. One of the biggest side effects of this medicine is bleeding. So some patients do not tolerate these medicines. In those patients, we have a very good solution that we put in a device in the appendage, which is called an Amplatzer device. Once that device is in, we have closed that appendage so no clots can form it. So the stroke rate comes down significantly in these patients. So this method of treating is very simple and effective. Again, one day hospitalization and no medication, no blood thinning medicines thereafter.